Hello, YouTubers. This is Shari with another live video of just my opinion. And for those who are still confused and leaving comments about what I say in these videos, the name of the channel should say it all. I am not expressing facts. I am not doing math. I am not telling you scientific things. This is more of a personal blog that is just my opinion, in case there's still confusion about that. It's this, I guess we're so used to the supposed portion of the program allocated to their verbal diarrhea. And we just sit fascinated thinking, oh, wow, this is, and we sit in almost cultish, almost worshiping fashion of what another person's, I don't know, verbal diarrhea is pretty accurate. And, you know, especially if they wear a suit, that's why I don't get dressed up for these things. This is an opinion channel. These are opinion videos. These are just thoughts that won't stay contained in my head, that won't reabsorb into my brain. And, you know, kind of like the mental lazy Susan that I'm always talking about. Before I get going, I'm going to reiterate again, this is just my opinion. Just like the channel name says, you can take or leave what I say. And if there's anything that I bring up in any of these videos that are substantiated or supported with facts, go research it yourself. Never, ever take anyone's point of view of the elephant, as it were. Find out for yourself, do your own research. You know what? Read a book, because this whole, oh, well, we just come to the social vomitorium as a group and we're all suckling from the same noxious teat. It's, yeah, this is an opinion channel. These are opinion videos. This is how I feel. And don't go worshiping me. I mean, I appreciate my subscribers. I appreciate the people who have liked the videos and who continue to share them, which is great. But don't idolize me. I'm not this graven image that you have to sacrifice to. I'm somebody that you subscribe to, you follow, share, and like. And that's great. I love it when you smash that like button. But this whole collectiveness, which I'm going to talk about in this video, is really what's poisoning and reprogramming our brains to be dumber. This, well, we have to be part of a group. We have to be part of an organization. That is our first identity. That is the penis forward thing that we present to the world. You know, when we unzip our private life and then slap it on the table for all the world to inspect. This, well, I'm part of this group, so now you know me, which is self-profiling. It's self-segregation. It is self-alienation of yourself. It's saying that I cannot think for myself. I am no longer exceptional. I am no longer this unique creation. I am part of, I don't know if it's copyright infringement to mention that colony on that TV show with Captain Picard and fighting the symbionts that have metal machinery attached to their body and they all think alike. That's what you're turning into, really. You as in you, but you as in everybody is turning into this collective which is very poisonous. And Reminds me of the scene in that cartoon with the dodos running off the cliff. We're turning into a bunch of dumb dodos. We are turning into, well, what is the group doing? Well, there we go. Personally, just my opinion on this. Individualism is what makes us great. And I can understand, because I do know history. I do remember history before it started to get burnt to the ground and torn off its literal and figurative pedestals. I understand that. A lot of people believe that individualism and exceptionalism is based solely on the manifest destiny of conquering and colonization. And they, or whoever wants to get rid of anything associated with it. But you realize that you are annihilating yourself, because we are all exceptional. We all have a destiny before us if we get up off of our butt and work for it. We can't sit around and it's like, well, the group's not doing it, so I'm just going to sit here. Just light a match, drag on whatever it is you like to inhale, and sit around and wait for someone to find their collective head out of the communal rectum. Just really irritates me what I'm seeing happening in the world. It really irritates me. It reminds me of what my mom would say when I was a kid. She goes, Shari, you need to belong to a group. You need to associate with a group, because that's really the only way. She was full forward with this. She's alive, but when I was a child, she was full forward with this collectivism, doing the group, the communal thing, the whole hippy dippy, everybody shares in the labor, everybody shares in the rewards of everything, even though not everybody did the work. And I'm like, it doesn't sound like social regimes and governments around the world that we're trying not to be like. If ideology is being introduced to this generation, well, what is old is new again, because this was, if you go far enough back into the history of this country, these ideas were being pushed almost generationally. They're trying to creep in to this country. I brought this up, the story, Harrison Bergeron. It's a story by Kurt Vonnegut, and it's a story about perfect equality. And I use the word perfect in italics and quotes when I say that. I hate making air quotes with my fingers. It's about no one is allowed to be exceptional. No one is allowed to be the top of the heap. No one is allowed to be better than anybody else, because it might hurt their feelings that someone is good at math, or somebody can lift more weight than you can, or it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, this whole trophy. Not everybody deserves a trophy. Well, people are dying. Well, people are going to die. No one is going to live forever. Nobody gets out of this life alive. So say that, oh, I can't believe they died. You have a very short, simple, idiotic understanding of yourself, really, versus it's like, well, I can't believe, someone in my family died. Aren't we all supposed to die at the same time? It's this sick and twisted and perverted version of collectivism that no one is allowed to be their own person. It's almost criminal to be your own person. It is highly discouraged. They're taking advanced classes out of schools now. They're saying, well, everybody can't have that, so nobody should. Again, go back and read Harrison Bergeron by Kurt Vonnegut. It'll scare you right now. My boyfriend, he's a writer. I had him read the story. He's like, the story is trash. it's just, I mean, that wasn't his exact words. That was his sentiment. Was it's kind of a boring story. I really didn't like it because it was written in such an ordinary way. And I go, well, that's the point. It's not supposed to be extraordinary. It is supposed to emphasize how blah true equity is. It's supposed to punctuate that. Exceptionalism is not evil. Individualism is not evil. And remember, opinion piece, this is just my opinion. That's like, I mean, this whole collectivism is saying, well, your child can't have peanuts. Or, no, better one. We've got a whole classroom full of kids. Someone brings in dessert. And my boyfriend just made a comment on my comment about his comment about Harrison Bergeron. So that's him right there. You got a classroom full of 10 kids, and one child is lactose intolerant. So instead of offering the child who's lactose intolerant something similar, like a gelato, as far as I know, does not have lactose in it, or you can find lactose-free gelato. So if one child can't have it, then nobody can. That's the problem with this collectiveness. For health reasons, I see, okay, you don't serve peanuts on a plane here, of people's firsthand experience of being on a plane, not eating peanuts, but the simple fact that other people are crunching peanuts, and you're in a plane, it's recycled air, it's circulated through, and then having an anaphylactic reaction just from the peanut particulates in the air. Okay, I get that. I do not get the fact that when people talk about generational trauma, and this is from my own experience, I'm talking about my own life here, I'm not talking about yours, because in my opinion, trauma is an intimacy that not even a lover can come close to. Intimacy on such a level that you can have 10 people be present at a traumatic event, and each person will have their own internalization of what's going on. So the intimacy of a trauma is from when I was a kid growing up. My parents constantly, well, my mother more so, was, well, you just don't understand. I had it so much worse than you, as I'm sitting here eating, me personally as a child, eating dog food, the right amount of gravy leached out, otherwise it's just a wet mess. That's actually kind of a science that I learned as a child. My mother, I guess, talking about, well, when I was a kid, or this and that, or you should be grateful for the pittance that you have. It's that collectiveness of the mentality that she had is, well, I had a horrible childhood, so you don't even deserve the good things that you get until I feed that child inside of me. Until that child inside of me is satisfied and is no longer hurting, then everybody's got to hurt. Oh, shut up. It's a collectiveness that, well, you can't succeed, you can't move forward, you can't do better until my hurt goes away. Hurt never goes away. Never, ever, 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 ever. You can tear down all the statues in the world. You can burn all the flags that you want. And once, it's kind of like Alexander, that quote about Alexander, that once he conquered the world, that he wept, not because, he wept because there were no more worlds to conquer. It's that way with people with trauma, this collectivism of, well, one person is hurt and then no one deserves to be happy, which I call BS. People are allowed to be happy. People are allowed to move forward. We should be stopping. We should be breaking the wheel, as it were, breaking the wheel and not passing off our collective trauma, our collective hurts, our collective regrets to the next generation like a relay race baton. Because all you're doing is not only perpetuating the hurt, but you are hurting people who had nothing to do with it. People who were not responsible, number one. You're hurting people who weren't even the victims of this hurt. But you're hurting them because you're making them feel guilty for their success, for their exceptionalism. You are punishing people. I mean, growing up as a kid, I got good grades, and the only praise I got was, well, when I was in school, I got beat by the nuns, or I wasn't very smart. So, yeah, it's great that you have one grade better than me, but when you have somebody who's supposed to be supporting you, when the collective is supposed to be uplifting instead of dragging you down, when they constantly complain, well, I didn't get good grades, why should I praise you for it? It's the collectiveness, this mentality of either everybody gets it or nobody gets it, that mentality. That's what's going to tear us apart as individuals, as families, as communities, as nations. That's the key to destroying us all. I believe in equality. I believe in equality. I believe in sitting down at the board with dice in your hand and everybody gets a single dice to roll. That's equality. The story of Harrison Bergeron, though, I highly recommend you read it. It's a very quick read. You can internet search it and find text of the story. And in the story of Harrison Bergeron, the collective mindedness of no one should exceed one or another, you would find on the dice the same number on all 6 sides. And that is what the collective wants. The collective says nobody gets more, nobody gets to be on the top of the heap. And this whole, math supposedly is bad now. Well, don't you think they use math to get that little robot on Mars? Don't you think they use math to mix your prescriptions? I do not want to. This world will die out if we stop using the things that make us exceptional. Or maybe, I'll close with this, maybe the plan isn't to make everybody equitable. Maybe it is to lengthen the stick and shrink the carrot. It's kind of like taking something away from somebody and making them want it more. Maybe that's the true goal. I don't know. All I know is let go of the dice. Get out of the game. Forge your own path. Be your own man. I hear a lot of vaginas going like a vacuum sealed bank safe. Man is the name of our species. Be your own man. And you don't have to wait for the collective. You don't have to wait for the hive mind. Let them catch up with you. Don't sit and wait around for them. Forge the path. So when they finally follow you, it's not as hard for them. Maybe that's why people can't succeed, is because they need someone to forge ahead for them. So when it's time for them to make the journey, it's not as difficult and they can still get there. That's it for me for today. Well, I lie. I could probably come on 20 minutes later with another topic to go on about. But I'm going to leave you with that. And I appreciate my subscribers. I appreciate the people who smash the like button. And I appreciate the people who share these videos with their friends, family, and frenemies. If you would like to support this program, your support, what you're doing with your support is on my Cash App ID. You are supporting not only the YouTube channel, but you are supporting my audio version of Just My Opinion, which can be found on, I'm pretty sure, all podcast streaming sites. If you look for me on a podcast streaming site and you don't find me, shoot me an email at just.my.opinion.podcast2020@gmail.com. Let me know, and I will get my information over to them so I'm easily accessible to you. I do appreciate your time. I know I get long-winded, and sometimes opinions may be short-sighted. But like I said, it's just my opinion, just like the title of the channel. I'm just telling you what I think. I'm not telling you that you should think the same way.